In the annals of philosophical thought, few statements have reverberated with such profound and unsettling implications as Friedrich Nietzsche's declaration that God is dead. This provocative assertion, first introduced in his 1882 work, The Gay Science, has since become one of the most widely recognized and misunderstood philosophical concepts of the modern era. Far from being a mere atheistic proclamation, Nietzsche's words carry a weight that extends far beyond the realm of theology, touching upon the very foundations of Western civilization and human morality. To truly grasp the significance of Nietzsche's statement, one must first understand the context in which it was made. The 19th century was a time of rapid scientific advancement and social change, challenging long-held beliefs and traditional values. The Enlightenment had ushered in an age of reason, and Darwin's theory of evolution had shaken the foundations of religious doctrine. It was against this backdrop of intellectual upheaval that Nietzsche formulated his radical ideas. When Nietzsche proclaimed that God is dead, he was not simply referring to the decline of religious belief. Rather, he was addressing the profound cultural and psychological consequences of the loss of faith in a divine order. For centuries, the concept of God had served as the ultimate source of meaning, morality, and purpose in Western society. With the erosion of this belief, Nietzsche foresaw a crisis of unprecedented proportions, a void that would leave humanity grappling with the terrifying prospect of a universe devoid of inherent meaning or purpose. The death of God, in Nietzsche's view, was not an event but a process, a gradual realization that the traditional foundations of Western morality and metaphysics were crumbling. This process, he argued, had been set in motion long before his time, with roots stretching back to the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. The Enlightenment's emphasis on reason and empiricism had further accelerated this trend, leading to what Nietzsche saw as the inevitable collapse of religious authority. The consequences of this collapse, as Nietzsche envisioned them, were far-reaching and deeply unsettling. Without the guiding hand of divine providence, humanity would be left to confront the harsh realities of existence, the apparent meaninglessness of life, the inevitability of death, and the absence of any cosmic justice or ultimate purpose. This realization, Nietzsche believed, would plunge society into a state of nihilism, a philosophical position that rejects all values and beliefs, asserting that life is ultimately meaningless. Yet for Nietzsche, the death of God was not merely a cause for despair. He saw it as both a crisis and an opportunity, a chance for humanity to redefine itself and create new values in the absence of divine authority. This is where Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch or Superman comes into play. The Übermensch represents the ideal of a human being who has overcome the limitations of traditional morality and embraced the full potential of human existence. The path to becoming the Übermensch, however, is fraught with challenges. Nietzsche recognized that the majority of people would struggle to cope with the implications of God's death. He anticipated a period of profound existential crisis, during which individuals and societies would grapple with the loss of their moral and metaphysical foundations. This crisis, he believed, would manifest in various forms of nihilism, from passive resignation to destructive anarchism. One of the most significant challenges posed by the death of God, according to Nietzsche, is the question of morality. Without a divine lawgiver, the basis for moral judgments becomes uncertain. Nietzsche argued that traditional moral values, particularly those rooted in Christian ethics, were no longer tenable in a world without God. He called for a revaluation of all values, a critical examination and reconstruction of moral principles based on life-affirming rather than life-denying ideals. This revaluation of values is central to Nietzsche's philosophy and represents his proposed solution to the crisis of meaning brought about by the death of God. He advocated for a morality based on the affirmation of life, the embrace of human potential, and the cultivation of individual excellence. This new morality would reject the concepts of sin, guilt, and otherworldly rewards, focusing instead on the here and now, on the fullest possible expression of human creativity and vitality. However, Nietzsche was under no illusions about the difficulty of this task. He recognized that the creation of new values in the absence of divine authority would be a monumental undertaking, requiring tremendous courage and intellectual honesty. The temptation to fall back on comforting illusions or to seek refuge in new forms of dogmatism would be strong, he warned. The implications of Nietzsche's "God is dead" proclamation extend far beyond the realm of philosophy. Its influence can be seen in various aspects of modern culture, from existentialist literature to postmodern art. The sense of alienation and absurdity that characterizes much of 20th century thought can be traced, in part, to the cultural aftershocks of Nietzsche's radical ideas. In the political sphere, the death of God has had equally profound consequences. The 20th century witnessed the rise of totalitarian ideologies that sought to fill the void left by the decline of religious authority. These secular religions, as they have been called, attempted to provide ultimate meaning and purpose through political doctrines, often with catastrophic results. The horrors of Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia can be seen, in some respects, as manifestations of the nihilism that Nietzsche foresaw. As we move further into the 21st century, the questions raised by Nietzsche's declaration remain as relevant as ever. In an increasingly secular world, the search for meaning and purpose continues to be a central preoccupation of human thought. The challenges of creating values and finding significance in a universe without God continue to shape philosophical, cultural, and political discourse. In conclusion, Nietzsche's statement that God is dead represents far more than a rejection of religious belief. It is a profound diagnosis of the modern condition, a recognition of the cultural and psychological upheaval that accompanies the loss of traditional sources of meaning and morality. The terrifying implications of this idea continue to resonate, challenging us to confront the fundamental questions of human existence and to forge new paths in the quest for meaning and purpose in a world without divine guidance. As we grapple with these questions, Nietzsche's insights remain a powerful and provocative source of reflection, urging us to face the abyss of meaninglessness with courage and creativity.